It's going live again tonight. Been pretty consistent with getting them in the last couple of weeks, which has been good. Getting a lot of good feedback. A lot of people have been tuning in to what we do, which we've been loving. All the people out there that tune in and share what we do really help too. Hello Annalise. Hey Miss Scarlett. Hey John. Hey usual suspect. How are you, mate? Yeah, so we're just going to probably try and stay consistent every week with doing our lives. So just going to wait for a few more people to tune in, and then we'll sort of kick things off. Hope everyone's week has been well. We've got people tuning in from Queensland, New South Wales. Last week we had some people from South Australia. Whereabouts are you guys from? If you're tuning in from anywhere around Australia, would love to hear where you're from. There's a few more people starting to join in, starting to tune in. So yeah, we might kick it off. We do our lives every week, talking about the work that we do and different topics around prison, people getting out of prison. Are you from Queensland too, Scarlett? Yeah, nice. We like to talk about how we help people through who have been through institutional child abuse to seek justice, start healing, possible compensation. We've been working in this space for a couple of years now, since September 2020, I think it is. So it's about 2 years, 7 months. And from that time, it was just me and my dad. Now we've grown to sort of quite a large team. We've got a really big team. There's a lot of people that support us, and we're supporting a lot of people as well. So it's always really cool to help people. Every single day we're helping many people. We have a lot of people calling us from prisons all around Australia. Each day, we're helping multiple people that have been through institutional child abuse that have been through abuse in institutions like boys' homes, girls' homes, foster cares, DOCs, could also be known as FACS, group homes, territory families, many of the youth detention centres. I went through a youth detention centre and I suffered abuse there. Many schools, private, public, boarding. So my father, he went through a school and suffered abuse. So yeah, that could be even a church-run one, any church-run institutions. So a church-run institution could be like a after-school care. It could be like a Sunday school. Could be getting taken out on school camps. Basically any church-run institution. It could be hostels. As I said before, after-school cares doesn't have to be church. After-school cares could be any after-school cares, kindergartens, preschools, mental health institutions, jails, PCYCs. Basically any Australian institution that's failed. Hey Ron, how you going? Good to hear from you, mate. Love to have you jump in one night. Be good to have you on. A couple of things I wanted to talk about tonight. I thought would be pretty relevant. Easy. It wasn't an easy process, but luckily I had people that helped me through what we do. It made it a lot easier. My case personally took a couple of years from start to finish. And I was pretty happy with my compensation that I received. It helped me to helped me to move on and heal from what I had been through. So it was really good. I received an apology letter. Different people have different things they do with their apology letter. Some people, probably use it to show their family why they, have been through the drug and alcohol abuse or the jails or the trauma. They show their family and sort of use it as a tool, mechanism to, try and heal and deal with what they've been through. Some other people might not take much notice of it. Some people might just throw it out. I didn't take much notice of mine, but I do like to see there's people that we help receive them. I definitely do. Also, we have a pretty cool thing that's coming up in next week. So I've been invited to do like a youth sort of mentoring speech. I'm going to be running a program around goal setting for young kids who are at risk of going into the prison systems or may have already been in the prison systems. So there's a youth organisation based on the north side of Brisbane. So they help out a lot of them young blokes. So I'm going to get in there, have a yarn with them, tell them, who we are, what we do, how we can, help them to set goals. It's very important to set goals because, a lot of people might just have a dream, but unless you sort of put it on paper and start trying to measure it, see what it looks like, how you're going to get there, you might not be able to achieve them goals. So writing them goals down is probably a really important thing to, to get them on paper so you can look at them, see them. Thanks, Aidan. Appreciate that. So yeah, next Tuesday we're going to video it too. So I'm going to turn into a bit of a vlog for our YouTube channel. Put some stuff on TikTok, Instagram. So we're looking to also do TikTok lives. We don't really have a massive following right now on all of our social medias, but we can't actually do a TikTok live until we reach, I think, 500 likes or followers, or one of them. I think we're up to about 300 at the moment. So if you're not on our TikToks, can you jump on and give us a like or a follow, whatever it is? That'd be excellent. Hey Phil, how you going? Phil, my friend, he has invited me to another really cool event this weekend. So it's the Daniel Morecambe fundraiser. It's called Dance for Daniel, I believe, and it's held at the Brisbane City Hall, I'm pretty sure. And Phil's actually going to be a guest speaker on the night, talking about his story. He's got a really sad story, but really inspirational to see how far he's come. And I'm really excited. Me and my father, who's also my business partner, who's also a survivor of institutional child abuse, have been invited by Phil. So we're going up to watch him, show our respect, listen to his speech, and I know his story. It's a sad story, so it's going to be good for him to get it out. It's a part of his healing, and also be good for us to be there to support him. So I bet he's looking forward to telling his story. We're looking forward to hearing it. So I'm pretty excited. Should be good. Hey, how you going, Luke? He's Luke Henderson. He was on our channel a couple of weeks ago. Done some really good stuff. Still doing some really good stuff. He spoke to me about one of his achievements during the week. I'm very proud of him. He's doing really good stuff. Yeah. So some other questions. Some people sort of like to know when they're going through the process of seeking justice, starting to heal, and possible compensation. Thanks for that, Luke. We're turning up every week, brother. Yes, of their abuse, and they're worried that people will think less of them. That's a very common thing for people that have been through abuse, particularly males. Males really have that stigma around speaking about it. Females do too, but I think from my experience, from what I've seen personally, a lot of a lot of guys, they're a bit afraid that what people will think, and I must admit I did too. I held it in for many years. But once you sort of overcome that and you start speaking about it, it makes it feel better, them feelings inside. You know, rather than before you might have tried to block it out with drugs, alcohol, you know, committing violent crimes, or you know, might have addictions, and it could be a food addiction, it could be OCD, it could be whatever it is, fitness. You know, it really helps when you start speaking about it. So I highly recommend speaking about it. And if you haven't spoken about it and you want to speak about it, it doesn't have to be institutional abuse or you're just something that you want to share. About Time for Justice is more than happy to speak to you guys, and just because you know, you might think that institutional abuse might be different to your abuse, we're still more than happy to guide you in the right direction and see if we can help out in some way. We're definitely always keen to speak to people and try and help them. You know, a lot of our guys that we're helping out too, they sometimes, you know, they're getting out of prison. What it's like when you get out of prison, what that looks like is you're very happy, you're excited, and most of the time you're gonna have a drink. You're gonna see friends. You're gonna have a party. You're gonna, you know, some of the guys, you know, have a really big one. Might go for a couple of days, or but unfortunately, some guys, you know, they end up back in prison after that party. So it's a little bit sad to see. But some guys might lose their mobile phones. But we can still help out just because you go back in jail. A lot of our people that we help are in jail, so it doesn't matter if you are in jail or not. You might get out and go back in. That doesn't mean we can't help. If you lose your mobile number, that's okay. We can just get you a new number, get the number updated in our system, see how we can help out. So yeah, some of the questions that we sort of get asked sometimes, you know, because the guys will call up, say, I'm back in prison, or hey, I lost my mobile phone, what do I do now? How do I get in contact with the lawyers? It's a very simple fix for us. We can just update everyone, let everyone know where everyone's at, and sort of, yeah, just move forward. So also I had a couple of things I wanted to bring up. Someone just put a comment on our Facebook. Hey brother, I wrote a submission for a guide last week for the government inquiry based on a 3-hour chat. The next day he went to Wybra Hall, boys home, where he and many others were abused, and he drove up the driveway. The owner came out and spoke with him for a couple of hours. He said, sorry guys, someone just rocked up to my place. My mum locked herself out of the house. Yeah, so the owner came out and spoke with him for a couple of hours. He said, I came away with 3 hours. 3 things: a tour of the place, a job, and the weight of the world lifted off my shoulders. Yeah, wow, that's really good, mate. I've heard lots of stories about Wybra Hall and Boys Home. There's lots of sad stories. When I went down there last year, we heard a lot of sad stories from Wybra. Also some other foster cares, schools, and other notorious boys home down there. Very sad stories. So Don, when you done that for that fella, what was that for? Like a support with him, or did you go in and talk to him with the inquiry, or? I'll just follow up on that. So yeah, some people who have been to happens in the boneyard generally is when someone's a police informant, also known as a dog. That's what the boneyard is. So for me, I never went to the boneyard. I stayed in mainstream population. So you would have heard Luke saying some of these things the last couple of weeks ago as well, if you've been tuning in. So yeah, that's where we were. But some other people who are bad people go to the boneyard and end up in that place just for having a fight, getting cheeky to screws. So technically sometimes you in them places. So Don just written back, I'll come back to that. I've been a mate of his first years, but he wanted to write his story for Lego Quarry. Yep. Yeah, and he was in Don when I was in Tasmania, when I travelled down to Tasmania doing the work that I was doing. I think he was working at one of the organisations down there. I went down there, had a yarn with him. That was really good. Yeah, so lots of the times when the guys are in segregation, they sometimes might be signed under an order. So say for example, all right, you had a fight, and you need to be in segregation, and then sometimes the screws will just extend your stay, just for no reason at all. Stay, unless sometimes they might make you, sign another order to be in there. But lots of the times, like for me, when I was in there, like I just might have went in there for a week. Guys are just getting held down in the detention unit. It's not good for your mental health when you're just sitting in there. Lots of the times you don't get any, you don't get out of your cell. Basically, you just sit in your cell all day. You get shit food, get fed through the door, no TV in the cell. You're just basically locked in. Segregation is to go and have a shower, and you don't really get let out. You just get let out. I sat in the shower all day, but that was the jail that I was in. Some of these jails have got nothing. So if you can think about the most exciting thing about your day is to sit in a shower all day, it's definitely not good for your mental health. You get very bad toiletries. So when you get sent down there, they don't generally give you any toiletries that you have from back in the blocks, if you ask me. And obviously when you're in jail, bad things could happen. There's obviously a violence. So people get hurt in there. Broken bones, people getting stabbed. Unfortunately, it's a pretty ugly side of standard procedure. Unfortunately, so it's pretty shit. Like, what is the boneyard? It's to say, for example, one of these guys. Sometimes they can sneak back in. These guys, sometimes they might sail through okay, but sometimes they get unearthed. And if they get unearthed, on a case where someone's serving 5 years now, what will generally happen to them is they'll get punted. They'll get punted out of the unit, and most of the time, if they're lucky, they won't get injured. But most of the other times, they're going to get injured. They're going to get hurt. They're going to get smashed. They're going to end up back in the boneyard, where, in my opinion, they should have stayed. For me, when I was 10 years old, a dog, police informant, Crown witness, told on my father, which made, not particularly made rats, dogs at all. There's really do time, but you shouldn't have to go and dob on people to get out of it. But then also too, if there's a child abusers, that's a different story. Like, they're a different sort of kettle of fish, a lot differently in jail. So if there is a sex offender in the jail, they will generally won't make it to mainstream. They'll get called out, or someone will figure out who they are, and they'll get punted straight away. They'll definitely be injured. Bills.
Public debate for weeks, and tomorrow it's development. We've listened to the community. Changes are aimed at targeting repeat serious, using the maximum penalty for unlawful use of a motor vehicle. While some victims of crime and other organisations support the tough approach, youth advocates say it won't work and will lead to more children, especially Indigenous girls, spending longer periods locked up.
We're going to see more girls in watch houses and more
behaviour, and that ultimately these children, their families and our communities will be no better off and no safer.
The group say the proposed legislation sent women and girls after a landmark report last year.
The government knows that harm is going to be perpetrated against Aboriginal children.
Houses when there are young people there. Amnesty International has added its voice to concerns over the new measures, warning they could trigger a human rights emergency and will lead
Parliament this week. Rachel Rieger, ABC News, Brisbane.
Yeah, so the report, it's really terrible. It's high, sort of looking like that the youth, there's going to be a lot more youth in the watch houses, and in particular young females. That's really sad to hear. Really sad to hear. In my eyes, there should be a lot more program to go down them sort of pathways and whatnot, rather than just throwing them in jail, putting them in the watch house. Things happen there, you know. I'm really looking forward to starting to go down and have these speeches with these young kids next week, because I would, when I was younger, when I was that age, I probably wouldn't really listen, even if the judge told me, you know, what to do. I wouldn't listen. But if there was a housing commission, had drug and alcohol addictions, I'd probably more than likely listen to that person. So I'm really happy to get down there and link up with this mob, this young mob. It's really rained quite heavily at my place, and I got tin roofs, so I'm not too sure. Did you guys hear that? Okay, that whole report. I hope you did. Otherwise, it probably wouldn't make much sense as the Facebook page. Are you able to just drop a comment in? Oh, that's good. That's really good. So I suppose some of the other things are now, so I can sort of speak to these guys about how you can make that change. Most days, not every day. Some days I'll sleep in. I'm only human, but I get up at 4 a.m. Oh, that's good. Thank you. That's really good. You could hear that. And if anyone has, to be honest, but that was in the prison. She's now a lawyer. If you haven't looked up Sisters Inside, good page to follow. They're really strong advocates for women in prison, Aboriginal women as well. Got a law firm now, plus a non-for-profit, which is called Sisters Inside. Really cool. But yeah, so some of my lifestyle, now from what I used to do, I've got to get up early, break that sort of sleep-in routine, don't wake up till 11, get that training session in, whether it's a run. This morning I done 12.8 kilometres. I don't normally do that much, but I just done a little bit more today. Got about 19,000 steps in for the day. But sometimes it might be the gym. Sometimes it might be just a walk. Sometimes it might be just lay on the ground and have a stretch. It doesn't. So sometimes to make sure that I spoke to my counsellor. Just had a couple of little things I wanted to talk about. A couple of things includes a lot of that training, and then excuse me. A lot of that training and making sure that I'm getting that self-love in. But then if I can't use that tool to work for me, I speak to it can be helpful. Oh look, my mum's watching. My number one fan. Hey Doza. Just because you've been to prison doesn't mean that life is over. I mean, it is hard. It's definitely not easy. But just because you might have an idea, you might have a dream, you might have a goal, or anything like that, it's I'm a big believer in every single day and keep trying something different, because if you keep doing that same shit, you're not going to break that cycle. You find it very hard to break that cycle. So you need to get up, and today, if you keep doing what you're doing, keep committing that crime, you're just going to end up in handcuffs and in jail, and nothing good happens in there. Most of the guys in prison, unfortunately, use needles. See what they're going to do with drugs or alcohol or committing crimes. Nothing good ever comes from it. Nothing good at all. Mark my words. When I could stop that lifestyle, I was unfortunately I was in sort of a very bad way. Like I was really going to do to me just because I left that old lifestyle behind. I know that I've done some really terrible things to people, and for me, if I was still in that lifestyle and someone was trying to change, I'd still want to square up. I don't care. I understand that. So coming off drugs, thinking about that, leaving a gang behind, I was like, fuck, this is bad. But I sort of just, you get up every single day and do that. There's no way in the world you can miss. I've done it consistently for years, and for me, it's helped me become very successful. In university, I'm involved in a few areas where we help people. I've got big goals to become a lawyer. A big part of me becoming a lawyer is getting it done. I've got good people around me. Without the people around me right now, there's no way I could have made it as far as what I could. And, having them positive people in your life, even if you don't have a positive person in your life, you can always listen to a pod at the gym. You're going to meet people at the gym. You start running. You go to join a bike club, not bikie club, like bike riding. A running network of lawyers, barristers, medico, psychs, counsellors. But I still have my old friends too, and we still kick it. Me in the podcast, me in YouTube, me just fucking